Want to make sure you never miss a new release from the official Creepypasta.com YouTube channel again? Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to turn on notifications.
Number 5. Fiji Mermaids. As a species, we know very little about what lays beneath our oceans. So, when in 1822, American Captain Samuel Barrett Eads was offered a genuine mermaid corpse by Japanese sailors, he jumped at the opportunity and purchased the mythical creature. Thus begins the tale of the Fiji Mermaid. Until his death, Eads showcased the mermaid to the public in order to recoup the fee of $6,000 he had originally paid for it. The mermaid was actually a hybrid taxidermy that was made from the head and torso of a monkey and the tail of a fish, a practice that was quite common with the religious rites of some Eastern sailors who probably had a laugh at the captain they had so easily duped. It wasn't until after Eads' death that the monkey-fish hybrid really gained fame, as it was sold by Eads' son to Moses Kimball of the Boston Museum. Kimball then took the creature to our old friend P.T. Barnum in 1842. Barnum, who instantly saw a moneymaker, rented the artifact from Kimball, and after drumming up publicity, showcased the mermaid in his museum, until it was seemingly lost in a fire during the 1860s. Since then, numerous Fiji mermaids have appeared around the globe, showing that mankind's fascination with the mythical is not going away anytime soon. Number 4. The Pelt Down Man. This next hoax is really something, as it shook many scientific beliefs, and for a while at least, skewed our view of the evolution of man. In 1912, Charles Dawson claimed that a workman near Piltdown, East Sussex, had given him a skull fragment that had been found at the quarry in 1908. After searching the area, Dawson found more skull fragments, and, after enlisting the head of the geology department at the British Museum, Arthur Smith Woodward, found enough pieces to painstakingly restore the relic. What the gentleman found was truly astounding. The skull contained both modern human and ape-like features, leading many to believe that this was in fact the skull of the long sought-after missing link between apes and humans. Dawson passed away in 1916, spending his final years battling against those scientists who doubted his claims, stating that the fossil was merely a human skull with an ape jawbone. However, it wasn't until 1953 that critics decisively put the Pelt Down Man to rest, proving that the skull was from a medieval man and that the teeth and jawbone were from a chimpanzee or orangutan fossils that had been artificially aged by the hoaxer, who was later proven in 2016 to probably be Dawson himself. Number 3. Jacko. No, not that Jacko. Though just like Bubbles, this hoax does involve an ape. On the 4th of July 1884, the British Columbian newspaper, the Daily Colonist, reported on a strange creature that was captured in Yale, British Columbia, and resembled a gorilla-type creature. This led to hundreds of people going to the jail where the creature was being held, only to find that they had been duped by some good old 19th century fake news, as Jacko, as the beast was dubbed, didn't even exist. This, however, did not stop 1950s journalist Brian McKelvey from finding the story and running with it, resurrecting the myth that was Jacko. Despite researchers pointing out skeptical reports about the case, Jacko had gained a life of his own, and to this day is used as a possible piece of evidence for the existence of Sasquatch, despite this never being mentioned in the original article. Number 2. The Surgeon's Photograph. Undoubtedly one of the most famous cryptids in all the world is the beloved Scottish beast, the Loch Ness Monster. So imagine the frenzy that happened when in April of 1934, London-based gynecologist Robert Kenneth Wilson took a photograph of the elusive creature's head and neck and had it published in the Daily Mail newspaper. Wilson shied away from the fame of being the man who snapped the stunning photo, so the picture was instead named the surgeon's photograph. For many, many years, the picture was considered to be definitive proof of the monster's existence, despite skeptics claiming the beast was a misidentification and was probably driftwood, a bird, an otter, or even an elephant. Eventually speculation became too great, and in the early 90s, the original photograph was professionally examined. According to specialists, the water ripples around Nessie were just that. Small ripples, not waves, churned up by a mighty beast. The picture was agreed to be an elaborate hoax, using forced perspective to make a model look monster-sized, and was most likely a submarine with a head stuck on top, and planted by a disgruntled member of staff from the Daily Mail who ran the photo in the first place. Most point the finger of blame at Marmaduke Weatherall as the mastermind of this plan, and to be fair, the plan worked, fooling most of the world for almost 60 years. Number 1. The Cutting Lee Fairies. 60 years is nothing compared to our final hoax, which it was eventually revealed by its perpetrators nearly 70 years after they committed their ruse. Who were these people, you say? Who fooled even legendary writer Arthur Conan Doyle? Surely they must be academic geniuses. Nope. The Cutting Lee Fairies hoax was committed by 2 young girls. Back in 1917, 9-year-old Frances Griffin was staying with her aunt, uncle and cousin. Frances's cousin Elsie was the elder of the two at 16, but both of them often enjoyed playing together by the stream at the bottom of Elsie's garden. They often got into trouble for getting their dresses wet and dirty while playing, but stated that they only went down there to see the fairies. And to prove this, they took Elsie's father's camera and headed down to capture the mythical wee folk on film. Half an hour later, they returned triumphantly. When the photographs were developed, it became clear that the girls had in fact taken 5 pictures with fairies. The photographs eventually came to the attention of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes and self-professed spiritualist. After having the photographs analysed by 3 separate bodies including Kodak, professional opinion was 2 to 1 in favour that the photographs had not been faked. Therefore, Doyle ran with the pictures and made them public. Opinion was split over the veracity of the fairies for many years, and in 1921, interest in them began to wane. Later, in 1966, Elsie was tracked down, and in an interview stated that the pictures were not of fairies, but of figments of her imagination that had been captured on film. After numerous public interviews and various people claiming that the pictures were fakes, using strings to hold up the figures, the girls eventually came clean in 1983, almost 70 years after taking the pictures. They stated that they had made cardboard cutouts of the fairies, which were held up by hat pins, and later they had disposed of the evidence in the stream. What had started out as a practical joke against their families had soon gotten out of hand, and Frances and Elsie were too embarrassed to admit their forgery once Arthur Conan Doyle had been duped. During one interview, Frances has said, "I never even thought of it as being a fraud. It was just Elsie and I having a bit of fun, and I can't understand to this day why people were taken in. I guess they just wanted to be taken in." Frances and Elsie died in 1986 and 1988 respectively, but they most definitely have left a lasting legacy in this world.